there is a huge possibility that Barcelona, for some odd reason, may not sign a striker this summer. And I think that would be a very terrible decision by Barcelona to not do so. So I came across an article where someone interviewed Hansi Flick, who manages Barcelona, about the lack of a striker so far. We know that Barca have been targeting Julian Alvarez all summer. It's not worked out. And here's some interesting comments here by Hansi Flick. He says here, Lamine Yamal has played in one or two matches with us in a central position. He means striker. And I think he's a fantastic player, a world-class player, so he can adapt to this. What does that mean? Is he putting out there that Lamine Yamal could play striker in the upcoming season or play a part? What is going on here? Then Hansi Flick goes on to say, I think Gordon and also Adeyemi, they can play on both sides. They can play also as a number 9. So we have a lot of options, actually. We'll see. Excuse me. Let's unpack that. He's actually putting the feeder out. He's putting that idea out that we may play Adeyemi and Gordon as strikers in the upcoming season, which I think is a terrible idea. Now, let's break it down. We know they have Ferran Torres as their main striker after Lewandowski left. However, Ferran Torres has one more year left. He has one more year left in his Barcelona contract. He may not renew. If he doesn't renew, Barca must get rid of Ferran Torres this summer. Okay? Now, if he does renew, which I think he shouldn't, because I don't think Ferran Torres is the profile that Barcelona needs. If you watch the games that Ferran Torres plays in, he misses a lot of chances. I think Barca need a better striker than Ferran Torres. And Julian Alvarez is the perfect player for Barcelona. Okay? But he's not coming. He's not coming. And I think Barca are slowly accepting that Julian Alvarez is not coming this summer. So they're thinking, what can we do? Now, I noticed that they signed Karim Adeyemi this summer, and Karim Adeyemi can play striker. He has played striker here and there at Borussia Dortmund. However, he's much more effective as a winger than a striker. And Barca should not make this mistake and try and play Adeyemi or Gordon up front. They should just buy a striker. They should just buy a striker. But it appears that they won't buy a striker if it's not Alvarez. And this is the problem with being so obsessed with one player and having no backup plan. I think Barca actually really believed that they were actually going to get Julian Alvarez. That Atletico, like in the past, like they always caved to Barca's demands. For example, Griezmann and a couple other players in the past that they sold to Barcelona because Barca wanted them. But this time around, Atletico Madrid are standing very strong. We're keeping our star player. We're keeping our star player. We're not going to sell him to a rival. He's our star player. We are going to keep him. So bearing that in mind right now, I feel like Barca had no backup plan. I think Barca believed that we were going to get Alvarez and that was it. But it's not going to happen this summer. Atletico Madrid are standing very, very strong. And I believe that Alvarez will stay at ATL Madrid for the foreseeable future. Now, bearing that in mind, a club like Barca should have had a plan B. A plan B would have been, if we can't get Alvarez, who can we get to replace him with there? I feel like Osimhen would have been a great profile and a few other strikers. I don't think Barca are going for them. It's either Alvarez or we're not getting a striker. Now they're putting the idea out there that there could be a possibility that we play Lamine Yamal as striker, that we play Gordon as striker, or Adeyemi as striker. And, I understand how in the past, they moved Messi from right wing into the center as a false 9, but Lamine Yamal isn't that type of player. He's not that type of player to be playing centrally. He's far more effective on the wing. And if they try and, let's say, meddle with his style of play, that could actually provide disastrous results. Disastrous results. And the fact that Barca may not sign a striker this summer is shocking. It's shocking. It's shocking. And if Ferran Torres does renew, he's not the right profile for Barcelona. He's not. He's not. In fact, I will go as far as to say that he's not Barcelona quality. He's not. Yes, he may have scored the winning goal in the World Cup final. Yes, we saw that. However, if you watch the Barca games week in, week out, Ferran Torres misses some easy chances. In fact, 33-year-old, 34-year-old Lewandowski, is a better player on his best day. A guy that's almost 10 years older than Ferran Torres. I'm just keeping it real here. Now, bearing this in mind, Hansi Flick and the board, I don't know what they've been doing this summer. I really don't. When it was mentioned, when you saw Atletico Madrid playing hard ball, you should have known that there's a possibility that Alvarez isn't coming this summer. And even if you don't want to waste money on someone that isn't your main target, at least get a loan of a striker. Loan in a striker. Loan in a striker. Pay 30 million euros or 20 million euros, loan in a striker. See how that goes for the season. They need a striker. They really do. They absolutely do. And Hansi Flick is putting that idea out that we have many options. We have many options to play someone in the center. Basically means playing people out of position. Basically means playing people out of their best roles to fit in a striker in their lineup. And knowing how Madrid are building and other clubs are in La Liga, Barca have to take that striking position seriously. Absolutely seriously. And I don't know what they've been doing all summer. It comes to a point, for example, we see other clubs where they can't get their main player, there's always a backup plan. When they can't get their main player, there's always a backup plan. What have the Barca board been doing this summer? And I am not in agreement in Lamine Yamal playing in the center. He's just not. He hasn't got the agility or the Messi-like thinking to play in that kind of position. He's best suited on the right wing. Karim Adeyemi could work. It could work in the middle. It actually could. But then again, you sign the player to be on the left wing, and are you going to play him in the center? Knowing how injury-prone Rafinha is, I don't know what the board has been doing. Now, it could be a money thing as to why, perhaps they can't really afford Alvarez. They thought 100 million would be enough, but Atletico Madrid want a lot more. Then if they really wanted Alvarez, why would you have bought Gordon and Adeyemi in the same window? Think about it. These guys both play on the left wing. So if you really wanted Alvarez, why not just have bought Adeyemi, and then the money that was that you spent on Gordon could have been used to add it up to the 100 million to pay Alvarez. I'm sorry, right now in this market, players that are top players are going for premium prices, bro. Going for premium prices. If they were serious about Alvarez and we're going to drop a lot of money, 170 million euros, I know that sounds crazy, that probably would have worked for Atletico Madrid. Because Barca believed that 100 million was enough to buy Alvarez. They believe that. However, Atletico, either they want more or they're not selling, but everyone has a price. Every club has a price for their player. Every club has a price for their player, for their star player. And 100 million euros doesn't appear to be enough for Julian Alvarez. Well, if you offer 170 million euros, I think Atletico will come to the table. They spent around 60 million to 70 million on Anthony Gordon, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. I'm checking right now. Cost to Barcelona. They spent 70 million to 80 million euros on Anthony Gordon. Okay. If they really wanted Alvarez, right, you got to put up the money. And this is like Barca going without a whole season without a new striker. It's just something that it will be a bad idea for Barcelona. It will be a bad idea for Barcelona. It honestly would. And I don't know what the Barcelona board is doing. They always say we have the best players, we have enough players to challenge for all trophies for next year. No striker means no Champions League. No striker means no Champions League. If I'm just being completely clear here. And that Hansi interview is putting the expectation out there. It's putting the disappointment out there. We may not sign a striker. We will do use with the current players we have and make it work. And we'll see what happens in the upcoming months and the next year. But I think I've mentioned before, I think Barca should go for Osimhen. I really think they do. Osimhen will cost around 75 million euros. Barca have that money. If Barca can put down 100 million euros for Alvarez, they of course have 75 million euros for a player like Osimhen. I think he's a great profile for them. We are 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away until the end of the summer transfer window, and by the end of next week, if there's no motion by the end of next week, then the striker thing isn't happening. They need to start preparing for a new replacement for Alvarez and come out for him next year, get someone on loan in as a striker, and we'll see what happens. I'm Charles Matchday. Please subscribe. Thanks.